Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and for hitting the like button. If you haven't already, why don't you make this the video that you subscribe to the channel. And please don't forget to hit the like button for the algorithm. It really helps out the channel and would mean a lot to me. The first story is called Lazy Management. This happened a couple of weeks ago. I work for a company that processes highly perishable items and delivers them to grocery stores. One of the products we sell requires butter. Like clockwork, as soon as the warehouse gets low on butter, they send me out to pick some up from a supply store. I work in an office, and it is not my job, nor is it my responsibility to pick up ingredients for the warehouse. But every time they send me, because everyone else, including managers, is too lazy to go. The supply store we go to requires a membership card to enter the building. That card has been lost for months and the managers keep forgetting to get a replacement card. So each time I go, I have to acquire a temporary day pass. The last few times I went there, they have been warning me that they will no longer offer day passes. And the only person who can acquire a new membership card is the person whose name is on the account, who happens to be one of my supervisors. I have been warning him over and over that he needs a new card because they will stop letting me in the building. Each time I'm given the same answer. I'll go when I have time. Fast forward to today. The warehouse is once again in need of butter and they once again ask me to pick it up because they are too lazy to go. This time I did not remind them about needing a membership card because I have told them about it several times and they are too lazy to take care of it. So I wait until nearly the end of my shift to attempt to buy the butter and I was told once again that I need a membership card and I will not be allowed inside, just as I expected. Afterward I returned to the office, telling my supervisor I was unsuccessful because, as I've stated several times, they are no longer offering day passes. It's now past 9 PM and everyone else has gone home. My supervisor had nothing else to say as he knew this was his mistake for being lazy. And at this point it's too late to go to the supply store because it's rush hour traffic and by the time he would get there it will be closed. Because of his laziness, they were not able to buy the butter in bulk and had to tell the customer that we will be short on that item. Easily a few $1,000s worth of sales lost due to lazy managers who think they are too important to do anything. After that, they stopped asking me to pick up butter. The next story is called Food for Overtime. The company I work for, and specifically the team I used to belong to, was one team of a department of like 60 operations people, and twice a month we had peak days. They were high volume and just crazy. To help on these days, one day the management team decides to start buying the department lunch on these days so we can work through our lunch and not have to worry about food. Keep in the back of your mind that this is enough food for the 60 staffers and the 20 or so managers and supervisors. Now this goes on for about 3 months and we work through our lunch and always finish the work and put in our overtime. No issues. But now it's my manager's turn to set up the food order. But she can't just do that. No, she needs to project her skills, so she makes an announcement to the whole department. It's been brought to my attention that some of you have been taking food and not skipping your lunches. The provided food is for those who work for a lunch only. Now, if she ended it there, that would have been one thing. But she didn't. She adds, and for the record, overtime will not be approved if you take the food. We are providing you lunch in exchange for your time. Bearing how illegal this is, we are all angry and start checking our pay stubs. And sure enough, we were not paid for overtime on the last few peak days. Lunch shows up about an hour later, and not a single person, outside of the managers, got up and took the food. Not only that, none of us put in any overtime that day. At the end of the day, the management team tossed all the food. 3 weeks later, on the next peak day, the same thing happens again. And then again on the peak day after that. The next time, the managing director comes on the floor in the morning and announces that there will be a change in the policy. Team, we are tired of ordering food and throwing it away. We are also not keeping up with the volume of work on peak days. The food is for everyone who wants to work through their lunch. And of course you will be paid for your overtime. In fact, we will be retroactively paying you for unapproved overtime on your next paycheck. But we need to get the work done, so let's come together on this. Turns out one of the older ladies who had been with the company for like 40 years put in a call about what was said and happening to HR and our lawyer. She wanted her overtime paid. It got so ugly that HR ended up pulling batch swipes to see what time everyone left for a 90-day period and paid us for any missed overtime to the minute, past our scheduled time. For some people it ended up being several $100s. The third story is called Only What I Tell You to Do. This happened a few years ago, at the worst job of my life, 7 months of torture. Not sure why I stayed so long. I started my first helpdesk IT job, being the only other IT staff apart from the network director, my boss. On the first day on the job, the boss was on vacation for a week on a cruise. I was left alone to take care of IT issues for a company with roughly 400 employees and 5 different locations in different states. The boss had told me to contact him on Skype if I had any issues. The first day, an accountant lost his Wi-Fi connection, so I did the Windows troubleshoot problems and it fixed the issue in less than a minute. A couple of hours passed and boss checked in and asked me how things were going. I responded, great. The accountant had Wi-Fi issues, but I fixed it. The boss asked me how I fixed it and I told him. He got upset because I should have asked him how to fix it or what I was going to do before attempting the fix. Bear in mind, he was taking approximately an hour between responses when I had asked him questions earlier in the day. Guess I should have had the accountant twiddle her fingers for an hour until he responded. The boss came back from vacation and had implemented a rule where I email a timesheet to him what I did every 15 minutes while at work. We were having a slow day, and obviously I haven't learned my lesson from the first incident. There was a stack of old desktops and monitors thrown down in a corner near my cubicle. I thought to myself, let me take the initiative and get these stacked up neatly and notate their serial numbers for our inventory to try and impress the boss. At the end of the day, I put that in my timesheet and emailed the boss. On my way home, the boss calls me. What is this I see in your timesheet about sorting desktops and monitors? I told him it was a slow day, so I did it while I had free time. Needless to say, he got extremely upset. I got reamed out about how he had told me already not to do anything unless he asked. I tried to make my case, but he wasn't having it. The boss told me I should only do what he tells me to do and nothing else. The next day, still fuming about how unreasonable the boss was, I clocked in and told him I had arrived. He said I should research Microsoft Teams. It was just released and he wanted to roll it out to the entire company instead of them using Skype. I kept. To Google I went and researched all there is to know about Microsoft Teams. When Teams was just released, it didn't have many features, so I had a full grasp of how it works in 1.5 hours. For the rest of the day, I didn't hear a peep out of him. Well, that must mean he wants me to research Teams all day. Of course I didn't. I was browsing the web for the next 6.5 hours. At the end of the day, I emailed my timesheet. 8:45 to 5:45, research Microsoft Teams. Ring ring, who could be calling me right after work? Oh, look, it's the boss. Hey boss, what's going on? Silence. Then the boss says, you mean to tell me you spent all day researching Teams? Oh yes, I did. As per our conversation yesterday, you told me only to do what you instruct me to do. That's what I did, boss. I didn't mean it literally. If you had nothing else to do, you should have asked. But boss, I did have something to do. I had to research Teams like you instructed. And boy, did I research it. You better make sure you know everything there's to know about Teams. I do, boss. See you tomorrow. He must have been fuming, because he has a short temper. I slept well that night, and it was one of the few nights I slept well during that 7-month period. The last story is called, If My Client Would Provide Me What I Need. I was handed a brief that said to design a A4 poster. Have. It was to include image and title and text that the client would provide later. A week later, I get a snarky phone call from the client that, as he has heard nothing from me, he was coming into the office. He turned up to our small office that had 8 to 10 people in it, no privacy, asking where the errand designer was. He then had some comment about that he didn't realize I was a woman, and now he is not surprised he has heard nothing, as we women are forgetful. Now he still hasn't supplied the title, text or image. He turns to me and said something along the lines of, come on then, knock my socks off, what do you have for me? So off I go to the printer around the corner, thinking I'll bloody give you something. Come right back and I handed him a piece of blank A4. He looks at me puzzled. So I put on my best barmaid smile, went up pub for a while too, thanks heaven for the practice, pointing to the different parts of the paper as if explaining a poster. I tell him this is where the image will be. Imagine that the title will be up here. And when my client supplies the text, he was the client, I would know better what font size I would need to use. At the moment the client hadn't supplied the text, so I didn't know if it would be something like beware or a paragraph of text explaining a medical condition. I also explained there may not be a hard copy such as he was holding, as I had also not been informed of whether it would be for the web or posted around corridors. I said if it was likely to be a poster, it would be in portrait, and if it was to be a PDF, I took the piece of paper and handed it straight back in landscape. He went quiet, just sat looking at this piece of paper. And looking. Then his body started this odd tremor/shake and just started roaring with laughter. I got a bottle of something nice for that. I think it was touch and go for a moment. For your interest, the studio did everything from poster design, training manuals to 3D models, visualizations and videos. And that was it for today. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.